everyone, and welcome to the Resident Rulebreakers. I'm Kayla.
I'm Camille.
And today's podcast, we are going to be talking about the season 4 finale, which is episode 414, titled Past, Present, Future. It was written by Amy Holden Jones and Andrew Chapman, and directed by Rob Corns.
Oh my god.
There's so many things we need to talk about,
Maybe that's why Amy left all of the Facebook groups, because everyone was so critical about the baby, and she was the one who wrote the episode.
So I understand their reasoning for the baby. They were still under COVID restrictions on set this whole entire season. They've been under strict COVID restrictions, and they didn't want to expose a newborn to COVID. And I know people are like, but children don't get it. They still get it, and children have died from this. I got really sick, and I'm in my 30s, so I don't want anyone, I don't care who they are or what age they are, to get that virus, especially not a baby.
A newborn is still immunocompromised.
Yeah, they can't even get vaccinated for a while. Come on, people. They can't even get vaccinated against the other vaccines, other problems, much less COVID.
But I feel like the storylines of this episode was so blurred because of the baby gate. I'm sitting there going like, move the F on. Can we talk about?
I know. I kind of had to because my whole job, part of my job revolves around me being on social media to do my job. And I'm looking in the group just peeking, because I'm not technically supposed to do that while I'm on duty. But I was peeking and I was like, oh my God, these people are insane. And then I left because I didn't want to read it anymore. And then I saw your post about the baby from Grey's Anatomy. And I was like, yeah, other shows do it too. So
it's like they need to move on. Stop acting like the baby was the resident was the only one who did it, and not just that, but the whole story, the whole episode was beautiful. It was
really, really well written. Kudos to Amy and Andrew and the rest of the writing group for how well. I mean, there were some people saying it felt like a series finale, but when they wrote this months ago, they didn't know if they were going to get renewed, which, by the way, they did. Renewal season 5 coming this September to Fox, and the same time slot, Tuesday at 8.
Or September or October. So
yeah, it might be September. Last week of September, first week of October is where we're probably predicting is to go back. But Morris is not going to be a main cast member next season. He has a new show on Fox that'll actually be airing behind the Resident. And then he'll be in a recurring status. We don't know how many episodes, whatever, but so hopefully we'll get a full 23 episode run next year.
Saber Shauna got a new role too for a movie, I think, right?
Yeah.
What was her role?
She is going to be playing against Harrison Ford in the new Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up because I know a lot of people don't like Cain, but Morris is still going to pull some double duty and recur and pop back in every now and then. And we'll talk about that part of the plot line when we discuss the episode. But I wanted to bring that up to your attention. It was released this week. But yeah, we're really happy for Renewal. And I know that was a big topic this week as well. So, yeah.
The excitement over the Renewal got overshadowed by the damn baby. It's literally everybody stopped talking about the Renewal, and all they talked about was the damn baby. And we're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I literally wanted to go, okay, we're going to talk about everything else but the baby. Seriously. No more talking about the baby. I'm not even gonna allow you guys to ever bring. I'm literally planning on banning the word baby.
I actually felt they did a really good job with it, considering the circumstances they were under. Prosthetic people did an amazing job. It was robotic or whatever, And they did a good job trying to mold the facial structure of Matt and Emily to make it look like their daughter. I think they did a really good job. Manish actually did an interview with Entertainment Weekly where he talks about it. So it's in the group if you want to watch it. So there are some really cool behind the scenes things that we did learn from that.
I just want to, okay, so let's not talk about the baby and talk about everything else instead. Okay, so yes, the Conic had their baby. Her name, I was right. Georgiana Grace, Nevin Hawkins. Good Lord, that's a long name.
Yeah.
How many letters is that? Georgiana. So 9 for just Georgiana. Mm-hmm. Grace is 5, so that's 14. Nevin is another 5, so that's 19. Hawkins is 7. 26 letters in that girl's name.
And her nickname is Gigi.
Yeah.
So there is that. So we'll see. And we have been promised a real baby next season by Amy. So for you people, just letting you know, we have been promised that. So.
Oh my God, they're just so stupid.
And honestly, I hope, we get to see her grow up. But, with all the COVID restrictions, it might get a little bit, I hate to say this, rushed, but it might. Because COVID's going to be around for a while, even though the cast and crew will be vaccinated and everything like that. They're still going to be around for a while because children that young can't be vaccinated. So
we're probably not going to see Gigi a lot.
And children are just, it's a different ballgame when you're working with children. They have rules and regulations for labor. They have rules and regulations on things like they have to use twins and blah, 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 blah. There's a whole slew of other things they have to go through on set, tutoring if they're of a certain age. It gets crazy once you get into using kids.
They might fast forward the time. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. People want to see her grow up, but they have a lot of things they have to consider on how much it's going to cost them to have Gigi around. So it is what it is. So yes, there's that. I did love the grandfather brigade. They were adorable. I want to see more Kyle, more Marshall in the next season. So I love that.
They're so cute. They are really, really, really cute grandfathers. Both of my grandfathers passed away. Well, my dad's dad passed away before I was born. My mom's dad passed away before I turned 1, so I don't remember.
See, I do have memories of both my grandfathers. My dad's dad passed away when I was 7, so I have memories of him. My mom's dad, I have vivid memories of him. He died when I was in college, so vivid memories of him. And then my stepmom's dad died a couple years ago, so I have vivid memories of him too. So I have 3 grandfathers. So I have some good memories of my grandfathers, and I'm hoping that these 2 men will get to impart the same memories that I have onto this little girl. So even though she's fictional and they're fictional, but having the connection to a grandparent like that is a wonderful thing. So hoping they'll continue to bring them in and let them be in her life. That's kind of the point we're making here. So there's that. AJ's mom was a major part of this episode, and she obviously, her treatment worked, but it left a place in her spine, and it has caused her to not be able to feel anything from the waist down.
Yeah, she fractured her spine. Poor girl. Poor AJ. AJ is just like, AJ, that dude has gone through the ringer.
Yeah, season 4 put him for the ringer. Not only did he lose the love of his life, his mom has stage 4 cancer, and his dad was absent because he was traveling back. So I'm hoping they'll bring his dad back into the picture, and I'm really hoping his mom survived the surgery she had. God, if Cain hadn't walked in, I can't believe I'm saying this. If Cain hadn't walked in when he did.
I know. Oh my God, when AJ threw that chair, around the operating room, like visual thing. I don't know what they call it. What do they call that?
A viewing room?
Yeah, viewing room. Whatever. When AJ threw that chair in there, I like literally cried because I can only imagine what he was thinking at that moment. I mean, and then like Cain wasn't picking up the phone or anything like that. It was like, God, I would want to kill somebody. But
because, oh yeah, I could see, like, this is my mom, this is the woman that adopted me out of her kindness of her heart and dealt with all my crap and raised me of her own free will, and here she is dying. And they did the flashbacks to young AJ, and I was just like, yeah.
I have to say that I'm sorry to remind people of this, but it had me thinking of Grey's Anatomy, because Derek Shepherd was at the operating table and he had a neurosurgeon that he was waiting for, or whatever, to come in. Although his storyline was not the same at all. Luckily, unlike Cain, the neurosurgeon in Grey's Anatomy did come in on time, and Derek died. And so I'm hoping and praying to God that this happens. But oh my God, when Cain walked in, I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Finally, because I was panicking so badly. I could feel like relief from AJ. And I loved how AJ was like, you didn't pick up the phone. How did you know that I need, why I was calling or whatever, so what was going on? Cain was like, there's only one reason why you would be calling me. And right then and there, I felt like there was some sort of truce sort of between the two guys. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at the end where his mom's on the vent, and AJ talks to Cain, and it's just like, he thanked him, but like, he's just like, why did you do that, But I don't know how they're going to wrap this up or deal with it, especially with Morris leaving. But I'll be interesting to see how they deal with that.
I never was a fan of AJ and Morris, AJ and Cain fighting each other, because they mentioned it in the episode earlier in the season that they're two strong Black men on the top of their fields, in a medical field, in different, specialties. They're the best of the best in their respective fields. They should be fighting together, not against each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it has to take a lot of guts for AJ to just, he loves his mom. He wants his mom to survive this. And so he's willing to put everything aside, even though the Cain was the one that reported that Mina's visa was due to expire out of spite. So, they put a lot of things aside.
And Cain did try to backtrack what happened with Mina, though. Let's not forget, Cain did try to backtrack. But by the time that he did, it was too late.
Exactly. So, and the fact is, AJ tried to get his mom to Atlanta General. She was too weak. And good thing that Irving's such a good doctor, because he caught it. You don't give Tasso enough credit. You know, he gets these little blips of scenes every episode, and we don't give him enough credit for what he does, but you know, you're always happy to see Tasso. So
yeah, Tasso and Jessica, they're like the comedic, you know, freedom, I guess, in the episodes on the show. But in reality, their characters are so underappreciated. I feel under you.
I hope they get expanded roles.
Yes,
there's gonna be a little bit more room, so maybe.
Can we please stop adding on like actors from other shows or whatever, and have like increase the roles of the people that you have already on the show. Mm-hmm. You know, Jessica and Tasso, Michael Hogan, you know, all these people, they should definitely have more expanded roles than they already have.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely. But I there was also another thing during Mrs. Austin's surgery, because Kit was in there because it was the spine, and so the bones of the spine, that's kind of she's an orthopedic surgeon, so she's kind of, even though she's the CEO of the hospital, how often does the CEO of the hospital do surgery, right? It's just unrealistic. But anyway, Billy obviously is Cain's resident. She's there, but she's having flashbacks to what happened to almost end her career. So I do understand why she was hesitant about the whole thing. And plus, this was AJ's mom. She's like, no, I don't want to kill AJ's mom. No.
AJ is like up there watching you like a hawk. You do something wrong, you're gonna like regret. You think Conrad was angry at you and then almost ended your career? Imagine what AJ would do.
Exactly. So Billy had every pause to go, no way. But Cain is actually going, or he had a meeting for Johns Hopkins, and they're trying to, I guess, write him out of the show, and so, but going to Johns Hopkins because it's more money, and he's still with Rose, so Rose is going with him, I guess. I mean, whatever.
I think that is so cute that he walked out of AJ's mom's room holding her hand. I was like, oh.
They had to hint something, but I don't know how, unless it's to hint that AJ's mom recovered from her surgery that Cain did, how they're going to, Morris's character is going to return in some capacity. So I don't know how they're going to do that, but it'll be interesting to see.
I honestly think Morris is gonna only do 2 episodes and then leave.
Well, he's the lead on that other show, so
yeah, he's not gonna be recurring. The recurring part would be like him staying long enough to say goodbye.
Yeah, essentially. Kit, there was a thing in the press release that said Kit was fighting a moral dilemma on how she handled saving Chastain's financial issues. And the thing is, the company that Devon's friend Philip started got sold to Big Pharma. And that saved Chastain $900 million. They went into the black. So now they're fully operating, but they're in bed with Big Pharma, which I saw last year before they decided to go the COVID route with the show and deal with this other storyline, that they were going to go the Big Pharma with the villain. So I'm actually happy they're going to go back to their roots if they're going to go the Big Pharma route. Talk about how bad it can be. So it looks like where they're going with it. Yeah. But Kit's not too happy with her decision. Good thing she has Belle, who's been in this position before. Actually, Belle's the one that put her in this position. But you know, he's there like, you did the right thing, Kit, blah blah blah. The chemistry between Jane and Bruce is something that's been clicking for 3 seasons now, and everybody's ready to see this romance blossom. I think Kit and Belle are the new Mina and AJ in a way, where they're the will they won't they storyline.
Oh my god, like I'm so tired of like I know Bruce said when we interviewed him that he is fine with the, you know, will they won't they storyline, but I think the only people who's fine with the will they won't they storyline is Bruce and probably Jane. We haven't touched Jane, but I'm pretty sure Jane is,
or the writers.
Huh?
And the writers.
Oh no, we're like literally begging the writers, but no, it's like fuck. But then again, like when AJ and Mina finally did the will that finally did, that was the end of their that was the end of their coupledom. So I'm sitting there going like, do we really want them to do it? Because then what if that means that's the end of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason they stretch these will they won't they things out to like the end of the series, because they're afraid that if they put them together too soon, then it gets boring.
Yeah,
people watch as long as you're like, oh, will it happen this time? So will it? So I do get why they do it. Nick and Conrad are the steady couple of the show. That's always going to be the case. Nick and Conrad are will they won't they stay for a while too, remember? So, but they're the happy married couple with the baby storyline. We're going to get that for the rest of the series, hopefully. But yeah, Kit and Belle, that's kind of my thing now. I'm ready to see them. She was just like, so that was really cute. She had her head on his shoulder during the adoption scene, which Sammy's adoption just made me, it actually made me cry.
Oh my god, that was the best episode. That was the best scene. I cried when the judge. Stop! I'm gonna cry. Okay, breathe. We watched Jake, his husband, and Belle fall and like become a family with this little girl. Mm-hmm. And we've been watching it pretty much since they introduced the little girl, you know.
And she actually called him Grandpa. She called Belle Grandpa. Jake was like, and she's like, it's Grandpa. So
I know. And then Belle was like, you know, and I loved how Belle was like, I hope this doesn't like, you know, I don't want to like step on any boundaries. I don't want you guys to think that I'm like, you know, fitting myself into your family if you don't want me to or anything. Like, I was still, you know, mindful and stuff. The little girl, I'm gonna start crying. But then I'm just so happy that little girl got her happy ending and got her 2 dads. And I really hope Jake.
I hope they come back in the next season and we get to see more of this storyline. Jake is a wonderful character. He also provides multiple steps of representation that the show desperately needed.
Yes. And also, you know, like we need, I'm sure they have plastic surgery is like a big money maker for any hospitals. I mean, like, let's have, you want like, your hospital to earn money, have a good plastic surgeon, you know what I mean? And like, dude, he needs to stay. I don't have Conrad sign, like step him up from recurring. We want to see more of that family, you know. We didn't see. I don't feel like we saw enough of a conversation between Belle and Jake on how like their characters work. Maybe we could meet his mom or whatever. I don't know. It's just
yeah. I mean, after all, this was her. After all, she does have a granddaughter now.
Exactly.
So yeah, it'll be an interesting thing to see. If I want to see definitely more Jake, Greg, Sammy, Belle dynamic. Yep. But it was beautiful, absolutely. And then the judge that was in the room that did this, she was the daughter of one of Belle's patients.
Yeah.
Belle and Devon's patient in this episode. They did a thing called a domino transplant, which is they take a organ that's not necessarily working very well and put it in someone that needs it, but they can't find they need the transplant faster than the fresh organ can be provided. But the organ still works, just doesn't work properly.
Yes.
He's not gonna completely die all of a sudden. But the girl that it was in, it was causing her to have more issues than it was worth.
Yeah, it's in a better position. It's a better organ than what he had, but it wasn't the best organ.
Yes. But the girl, Astrid, was a friend of Dr. Debbie's, Leela. And the girl that plays her, I was like, I know this actress from somewhere. She's from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, it's like, I'm a huge Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. So Manish was in a few episodes, but this girl recurred on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for seasons upon seasons. So if you've ever watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., she was Agent Piper. So I had to look it up myself to figure out who she was. But I was like, yeah, I know her. But anyways, I was really excited to see her. But she has her life ahead of her. She's a chef, and if she can, go back to her job, she can, get an apartment and everything. Yeah. It's difficult. It's difficult, especially with the pandemic still going on. It's affected a lot of restaurants and stuff. So there is that issue. But if she can have her health, if you have your health, you can work. And that's kind of the thing here. And so Devon and Belle and Leela all work together to try to help her and to help help Jake's friend as well. So they both benefited. So I loved that. I think in a way they worked a lot into this episode. I mean, there's a lot in the 40 minutes.
Oh yeah, definitely. They wrote such beautiful stories too. I feel sad that that's all they talked about was the damn baby doll.
I know, right? There's way more in this episode than the baby. Devon and Leela, for instance, at the end of the episode, Devon and Leela go home to his apartment and they end up kissing. Now, let's just say, if you've listened to us before, you know our opinions on Devon and Leela.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Sorry, I am not a fan. I do not like it.
She is his intern. And Devon deserves to be not dating someone who he's technically her boss.
Yeah. And not just that, but I mean, like, I feel like we haven't fleshed out enough of Leela's storyline. I really don't. I am afraid, I am scared that they're going to, what's that called?
Turn her into a love interest and only a love interest?
Yes, they're just gonna like focus on that. And I'm like, the girl is a talented surgeon who is, who has a learning disability and like conquering.
And she's a woman of color.
Yes, and so much other stuff around her. The last thing I want her to be is boxed in as Devon's love interest.
Yeah. Yeah, can Devon have a character that's only a love interest? Sure, y'all guys can do that, but just not Leela.
Yes, Let it be someone his equal.
Yeah. The other thing with Devon was in this
Or
episode,
someone who doesn't work in the hospital.
Yeah, that. The other thing about Devon in this episode, he sees the ghost of his father again. His father, as you remember, he died of COVID. And Devon's been battling his grief over losing his dad. And in the midst of watching Leela and Belle do the domino transplant, he sees the ghost of his father, and he actually feels good about what he's done to try to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that little touch, you know. With one more storyline, Billy.
Yeah.
The cliffhanger, if you really want to call it, it was really the only storyline that had some type of cliffhanger aspect to it. And I think they did this just because it was a safe way to make sure that if they didn't hear Renewed, they could go out.
I wonder who will play her son.
To Billy, like there was a conversation Billy has with Nick after during their walk after Nick had Gigi, and she's like, I'm never gonna have what you have.
I mean, she's still young, unless the rape like how is it? Are there rules to protect biological parents from allowing like their kids to see their like the kids they gave up to like find them or something like that?
Billy did mention that it was supposed to be a closed adoption, so it makes no sense how like the papers got opened. Obviously, this is a storyline that I definitely think they're going to be pursuing in a new season.
Maybe he did like ancestry.com and tried to find their closest relative or whatever, and somehow or another Billy's name popped up in it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, like it has to be it's gonna be a difficult, like I just don't know how they're gonna handle the storyline, but like this guy, he's come face to face with her now, and so she's gonna have to
How
say.
old was she when she was pregnant?
She was 13.
Oh God.
Very young. So it's gonna be but I think that's gonna be Billy's storyline in the new season.
Yep, but I hate it. I already hate it. I don't want it. I don't want to deal with it. I feel like
because I don't want them to try to, if Billy's this resolved on keeping him out of her life and moving on with her life from this traumatic event, then that's what she needs to do.
The thing that pissed me off more than anything was I'm gonna start crying. Hold on. Okay. If they do this storyline all season next season, I don't know how I'm gonna keep watching.
I understand, and I understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
Because when Grey's Anatomy did a storyline with this for one episode, where what's her name, Jo, confronted her mom and her biological mom, and that's how she found out that she was a product of rape or whatever. I had to go to therapy like literally twice that week just to deal with my own emotions after watching that episode. So if they do this all season, I'm gonna have to quit watching the show because I don't think I'm gonna be able to deal with it emotionally, psychologically, and honestly I hope they don't, because I don't think I'm probably sure that a lot of people would feel the same way as me, you know what I mean?
I hope that they find a quick conclusion to it.
Yes.
Yeah,
because I don't want to deal with that.
There's so many other things that they could do with Billy. I mean, she's brilliant.
Yes. But now that Cain is leaving, I mean, she could like take on the neurosurgery department. You know what I mean? I mean, like, who would be her teacher if Cain leaves, when Cain leaves?
I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe she could take it on. I don't know.
So
And the last thing I want is to have to watch that a season of that.
A few more things I wanted to mention before we sign off. Matt's birthday was over the past week, and I did want to say happy belated birthday, Matt. We had a lot of messages and stuff that were on our Facebook page, Facebook group, Instagram, Twitter even, wishing him a happy birthday. So hopefully somehow he may have gotten word that all his fans are wishing him a happy birthday. So
yeah.
He just doesn't have social media, so it's so difficult. Just wanted to bring that one up. Again, thank you for the 14,000 downloads, and we're going to be around as long as we're not too emotionally distraught over certain storylines. We'll be here.
Hey, let me put it this way: if they draw out the storyline with Billy in rape and everything else to the whole season, I'm gonna be asking for the resident to pay for my medical bills for a therapy session or something.
So, but we're looking forward to being around for more, because we've been around for a little over 2 years now. So
yeah,
but we did take some breaks, but we've been around for a while, and
we're probably gonna take a break. We're probably gonna like keep continuing through the summer, but also at the same time we're gonna take
a bit of a break as
every
well.
now and then. Like maybe like twice a month we'll do a podcast, and then
yeah, it won't be every week through summer hiatus. Like last year we had quite a few interviews, and we're really would love to get a few of them through this summer. There's also, we never did episode 409. We also I saw someone post their season 5 wish list, so we might talk about season 5 wish list of certain things. You have to get creative in hiatuses, but the fact is, when the show goes into hiatus, it doesn't mean there's no show. That's the reason why we have the podcast. We always come up with creative ways to
I really want to interview Anusha. Like, how do we get Anusha on this show? Okay, Anusha Baba Joshi, hi. My name is Camille. I am a co-host of the Resident Rulebreakers podcast, and we would love to interview you about your time on the show. Anytime, let us know. Email us, Instagram, message us. Let us know if you want to come on.
India is under a really bad problem. They have a horrible COVID outbreak, and they're running out of supplies. They're running out of money to be able to save people, equipment. So for the month of May, we are asking you to go to giveindia.org and donate to help India combat its COVID crisis. Camille mentioned earlier when she was asking if Anuja would be on the podcast. She said email, whatever, ways to contact us. We do have an email address. It's theresidentrulebreakers@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Facebook page, which is the Resident Rulebreakers podcast. And then we have our Facebook group, which is the Resident Fox fans. If you're not in the Resident Fox fans, join, answer all 4 questions, or we will deny you. And please abide by the rules, because if you don't, we can promise you, we've been having to crack down on this, especially lately. We will toss you.
Yeah.
Just saying. And the Facebook page and the Facebook group are linked to each other. So.
Yep.
Instagram, which we have at the Resident Podcast, so you can follow us on Instagram. And then there's Camille's Instagram, which is the Resident fan page. It's called the Resident on Fox Fans, and she posts things that we don't post on the podcast Instagram. You know, behind the scenes stuff and stuff like that.
I haven't been active on that. Sorry,
but she did. She does it at one point. So there's that. And then there's mine, which is at KB Country 37. Again, I'm not very active, but when I do post, there's a reason. Usually, I'm excited about something. I'm just really busy. I work 40 hours a week, and so I have a day job. So anyway, and then we have our Twitter, which is at Resident Podcast. Yep. So there's that. We also have our Patreon, which we use to help fund the podcast, things like hosting, equipment, stuff like that. So you can go to patreon.com/Resident Podcast, and you can donate to the podcast as little as $1 a month.
Yep.
So there's that as well. Then you can there's multiple platforms we are on across many of them. Podbean, which is our hosting site. We have Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and we're on YouTube. And so there's all that as well. And Camille has another podcast too.
Yep, I have a second podcast. I host Hallmark Heartbeats podcast. So if you're a fan of Hallmark Channel movies, go and follow me there. I review all Hallmark movies. So like this week there was no new Hallmark movie, so we did a listener's choice. So I kind of did a poll, and this week the choice was Love Takes Flight, starring Mickey DeLoach and Jeff Hefner. But anyway, yeah, it's and also I do a lot of I do my own Buy Me a Coffee website, which is sort of like Patreon, but yeah, on there you get to see our unedited footage of all of the interviews that I do, as well as never released podcasts on there. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So Buy Me a Coffee, Hmark Heartbeats.
Yep, buymeacoffee.com/HmarkHeartbeats.
Yep.
Oh,
So
and my Instagram page is Hallmark Heartbeats.
Yes.
Yep. So.
And we follow each other. So like if you really need to find it, like you can go through the followers list on the Resident Podcast, and it's there somewhere. Anyway, so next week, because I was still battling long haul COVID at the time, we are going to do 409, which is the one we missed. So tune in for that. And then also next week in America is a holiday weekend. So we have a long weekend. Memorial Day weekend. But yeah, just want to bring that up. So we'll be doing 409, and happy early Memorial Day. So we'll see you next week.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.